Hey guys, my name is Notch and welcome back to Pikmin 4! Man, it's been a while since we've been here. Last time, we had some difficulties in some Dandori battle. Yeah, I got my ass kicked. Wasn't pleasant, but my friend was a good sport about it. A little bit. But that's over and done with. And now, it is time to go over the Piklopedia of Pikmin 4, featuring Dalmo and his weird obsession with these creatures. All these creatures are fantastic, aren't they? Just thinking about them makes my heart swell with happiness. Never. No. You want to be put into a real expedition with these things? Be my guest. You're not going to find these things cute and cuddly. Well, we got 25 entries, but there are actually a lot of entries here regarding with old enemies. Back in Pikmin 2, that had their entries in that Piklopedia been recycled into this game. So for that reason, I'm only going to go over the new enemies from 3, 4, and 1. New enemy, the old enemies from 1 that got reintroduced in Pikmin 4. So like the Pearly Clamp, or Clampearl's a Pokemon. I forgot what the name was, but anyway, we're just going to start off with the albino dwarf Bulborb. Oh, no, that is not what I want. That's what I want. There we go. Alright. Among all the naturally charming dwarf Bulborbs, this one might have the most attractive and well-balanced conformation. When night falls, the eyes of these fascinating creatures emit an intense glow. Whether to mesmerize prey or to help it spot other kinds others of its kind. It's an intriguing adaptation. I could stare into those shining eyes forever. Olmar's notes. And Bulborb lava after its first molt. Oh, okay, so it's just the next form of the Bulborb lava. That's pretty interesting, actually. Bulborb lava after its first molt, due to its pale coloration, it is assumed to be a mimic when it was first discovered. It was later confirmed to be a true dwarf Bulborb. So these are the true dwarf Bulborbs. That's pretty cool. To avoid predation from adult Bulborbs, it spends the majority of the daytime hours hiding underground. It becomes more active at night when its pale coloration is more difficult to see. In this state, it is difficult to discern what species of Bulborb any given juvenile may be by appearance alone. It's only after a Bulborb's second molt that they start to display more distinguishing species characteristics. And now Louis, he's going to tell us how to cook and eat these things. Peel off the skin, starting at the tail end. Then slice thinly and boil in a pot of heavily salted water. Serve immediately. That's really gross. I really don't like the way the albino dwarf Bulborb looks. It looks so out of place and weird. But it I can kind of understand now, because look at the Bulborb lava and then look at the albino dwarf Bulborb. It's pretty cool. Who's next? Jumbo Bulborb. No. Jumbo. That word sets an image in your mind. Being larger than any others of its species means its heart is proportionally bigger too. So its devotion to its family also grows. When it savagely bites, it's also doing so to protect those it cares about. The most loving critters can sometimes also be the fiercest. I really don't think that's the case. I really don't want to know. During reproduction, after an egg is fertilized by a sperm, any excess chromosomes are usually discarded through a process called meiosis. But occasionally, this process fails to occur, and a Bulborb individual will develop irregularly due to its chromosomal abnormality. Specimens like this one are stronger than the average Bulborb and can exhibit more aggressive behavior. However, they are not able to procreate, as they will never reach sexual maturity. Oh, man, that kind of sucks for the Jumbo man. It's a large creature, but the meat is tender and flavorful. It's impossible to eat one in one sitting. So store some portions for later. Cook the fattier meat in cooking oil and freeze. Leaner cuts should be smoked. What's next? Ooh, the Dwarf Frosty Bulborb. And I keep pressing A to think it goes into the notes. The ice crystals on its back are finely detailed and delightfully iridescent. As a juvenile of this species, it sometimes overproduces the sparkling layer of crystals. One of its parents will then snappity crack away at the ice so it doesn't weigh the little one down. My heart melts when I see such loving family dynamics out in the wild. Much more like mature specimens, the juvenile Frosty Bulborb is able to create and carry ice on its epidermis that promotes extracellular freezing. However, they take an entire night to regenerate their ice, which is why they are often accompanied by adults. Juveniles display a smaller number of spots than the adults, causing some to believe that this was actually a specimen mimicking breadbug. However, the results of further analysis proved this was not the case. Oh, okay, pretty cool. A sweet and savory meat that pairs well with a simple green salad. Oh, Frosty Bulborb, got a normal one. We've got the big one this time. A creature that thrives in the coldest climates, its ice-coated haunches shimmer like a living jewel in the frigid air. You can admire the way it sparkles to your heart's content, but don't get too close. You'll get frosty frozen on the spot if you touch it. A Bulborb with large amounts of ice and frost covering its midsection. It's unusual to find ice such as this attached to a living organism, as it's cold enough to freeze small animals and regenerates any ice mass that gets broken off. This Bulborb species intercellular stores of sugars, amino acids and organic acids provided a plant-like resistance to freezing, making it possible for the Bulborb to touch the ice without freezing itself. Oh, that's pretty cool. Sear the rich and fatty meat on both sides in a dab of butter. Then sprinkle generously with fresh thyme. For those who prefer leaner cuts, I recommend the tip of the nose. Fiery Bulborb. Ooh, whipped tongue Bulborb. I'm not too sure if there's a Piklopedia in Pikmin 3. I could be mistaken, but it's not a Piklopedia, but more like data files referring to these creatures. So I don't know if the entries for Pikmin 3 carry over to this game. So for that reason, I'm going to go over Pikmin 3 enemies as well. So starting off with the Whipped Tongue Bulborb. Its narrow snout houses an amazing prehensile tongue. It sets its sights and slurps up its targets right up. The sweet little bean uses this marvel of evolution with great skill. Any creature with a dexterous tongue like that is unlikely to ever go hungry. I hate this thing in Pikmin 3. It's so annoying. Instead of gnashing jaws usually found in related species, it uses its extensible, vicious tongue to capture prey. Even before it opens its mouth, it's recognizable by its tapered snout and black spots against its white back. Some theorize that it evolved its long tongue to snatch prey drawn to high blooming flowers. But a recent finding confirmed that until its second molt, this creature feeds with its teeth, much like other grub dog species. It will begin to use its tongue once it reaches adulthood. Pat the tongue dry, then coat all sides with a spicy dry rub of your choice. Grill over high heat until the outside is perfectly crisp. What was it? Oh wait, Sovereign Bulblax. That's right. It's a new one. It's the one from the first game. So it's not the Emperor Bulblax that we know from like Pikmin 2, but this one is indeed the final boss of the first game because it's got the same plant-like structures on its back than the one in the first game. I always thought that was pretty cool. Well, anyway, sovereign Bulblax. The value of living creature has within its ecosystem has no relation at all to how big or small it is. That being said, this massive mountain of a critter is truly majestic. Not only does it have the courage and means to lay waste to any opponent, it also has a roar that could make the boldest traveler start to tremble in their spacesuit. An Emperor Bulblax of extremely advanced age. It will no longer display the pack behavior commonly exhibited by younger members of its species. Instead, as an individual ages, it leaves the herd and exhibits more solitary behaviors. It feeds by using its strongly developed legs to leap upon and crush its prey with speed disproportionate to its massive body. To determine the age of any given specimen, you can count the rings of hide classified in the form of a carapace. One ring forms roughly every year the creature lives. Individuals with over 100 age rings have been discovered so far. The Sovereign Bulblax's back is often covered in moss and pteridophytes. I'm going to say that. On a few occasions, specimens have been found with a rare species of mushroom called bulbor. Bulbor. What the hell? Growing on its back. So, the Emperor Bulblax that we fought in the first game is just a very, very old one. That's kind of crazy. For a light appetizer, pluck the ferns of its back and lightly cook to remove any astringent flavor. The tongue, eyes, lips, meat, and fat are very tasty and can be prepared in a variety of ways. Mature specimens have more highly developed umami flavor. Oh. Fiery blowhog, watery blowhog. Aha! Snowy blowhog. What's that? You think the different types of blowhog look all the same? Yes. Yes, definitely yes. Like, they got the same body shape, but yeah, this one's got different colored eyes and a different colored body. You need to look a little bit closer. For example, this little fella has light yellow eyes and has an aquamarine body with turquoise lips and blue nails. Wait, what? Oh, now that you mention it, I kind of see the blue nails. Oh, they have nails? Oh my god, they do. I never noticed that. Well, anyway, it all comes together to create a unique appearance designed to give anyone the chills. This species has the ability to condense atmospheric carbon dioxide with an organ called a cold sac. The cold sac creates dry ice and vapors. And its vapors are expelled and are then expelled as icy breath. A close relative to this species, the fiery blowhog can keep its internal body temperature from rising because the phosphoric compounds it expels only ignite when they make contact with the air. In contrast, the snowy blowhog maintains internal body conditions below freezing, and its other internal organs are protected by thick layers of fat and extracellular freezing that occurs within its cold sac. Sprinkle lightly with salt and eat while the ice bag is still fresh and crunchy. Just one bite will give you the most satisfying brain freeze. Oh, that's kind of cool. Titan blowhog. Massive gouts of flame blow out from that gigantic body with astonishing force, enough to make you think of a volcanic eruption. This critter exhibits the power of nature's fury. One can be truly overwhelmed by a sight of the Titan blowhog's raging torrents of fire. Due to a hormone abnormality, this fiery blowhog specimen has grown to an irregularly giant size. As a result, its mouth and the organs that regulate its fire-breathing abilities are significantly larger, so the firepower of this specimen greatly exceeds that of its normal counterpart. The fire it produces is actually so strong that the stress it places on the creature's internal organs is magnified, thus reducing its overall lifespan. This specimen is also unable to reproduce. Creature too large to easily carve. Bigger is not better in this case. Blizzarding Blowhog. This creature blows out an unending gale of freezing blizzard-like winds. Talk about lung capacity. With this hulking darling around, we could cool down those hot summer days in an instant. Although it does exhale carbonic acid, maybe that's not such a good idea after all. This specimen is actually a snowy blowhog. That lethal expeller of icy air. However, it's grown to a gigantic size thanks to its endocrine abnormality. Endocrine? I think I'm just going to say that. Unlike the Titan Blowhog, this condition does not sentence the Blizzarding Blowhog with a shorter lifespan. In fact, its lifespan is actually much longer than it of the average snowy blowhog. The organs that produce the dry eyes are also enlarged in this specimen, perhaps in order to make production more efficient. Scrape the interior of its elongated nose with a spoon for a quick dessert of meaty shaved ice. Add a drizzle of sashimi-grade soy sauce to take it up a notch. Well, I'm just going to end it off right there. I'm not going to end the episode, but I am just going to cut ahead to the next part because I actually got work soon. So I'm just going to leave it off there. So I'll see you guys then. Okay, I'm back from work. Let's continue on with the Piklopedia. Alright, next up we have the Tusked Blowhog. Tusked Blowhog. Setting its unwavering sights on its target, it makes a ferocious mad dash at full speed. Even if you hit it really hard, you won't slow down this bold beastie. It single-mindedly carries through its actions with unwavering focus that inspires me to improve my focus on my own task. Similar to the ancestor species of the fiery blowhog, this creature has a pair of sharp tusks that it uses to charge enemies with vigorous violence. It demonstrates its aggressive nature when it pursues its prey, and when it's attacked by a predator of its own. In the case of the latter, the tusked blowhog will attack its attacker, causing them to balk while it can dash away to safety. This species also has an extremely sharp sense of smell, which it uses to detect the pheromone-like scent of its favorite food, underground mushrooms. And yet, it likes to snack on Pikmin. Yeah, that's actually a thing I didn't know about the tusked blowhog. I didn't know this thing could actually eat Pikmin. I thought it just charges out the way, but no, this thing indeed actually eats. Here, have a look. We're gonna do this. We're gonna do that. And what's this? He runs at him, and he eats him. I did not know that. I'm an idiot. So I've only had like a few run-ins with the tusked blowhog underground, and he just shoved Pikmin out the way. He never really ate anything. Well, let's move on with Louie's notes. Stew with root veggies, wild greens, and a bit of miso for a mouth-watering and rustic flavor. Drain all the blood beforehand to avoid the gamey smell. Is that an armored cannon larva? Yeah, okay, yeah. Horned cannon beetle! So not the armored cannon beetle, it's a horned. So this thing must be... I wonder if Olimar will actually say anything about that. Its giant shiny black carapace is one of the most precious stones on the natural world. When it lifts its ebony wings, the briefly visible flesh beneath it creates a striking color contrast. This is a living work of art that transcends the imagination. Males of this species are known for their horn-like blowholes. When females reach maturity, their blowhole closes and lose the ability to launch rocks. At the start of breeding season, the females lay eggs on rocks launched by males. The rocks then become food for the growing larva. Oh, pretty interesting. Though once mistaken for an adult armored cannon beetles, this species is actually a naturalized, non-native species that migrated here from another continent. So there you go. So it's a non-relative. Okay, or non-native, I should say. That's actually pretty cool. The horned cannon beetle can breed with adult armored cannon beetles, but only about half of the eggs will actually hatch. This hybrid species, it has the potential to seriously pollute the gene pool. Furthermore, it exhibits aggressive territorial behavior, sometimes launching boulders at young armored cannon beetles, which has driven the latter species to the verge of extinction. Ooh, that's pretty bad. Drop into boiling water and let it cook until the shell turns red. Remove from the pot and peel. Sprinkle the drained meat with rock salt. Arctic cannon larva. This is from Pikmin 3. So we're going to go over it again. I'll go over enemies with Pikmin 3 because I cannot remember if there was a Piklopedia in that game or not. I remember there being data files, but not for every single enemy. We'll get into that when we get to that Let's Play. Well, anyway, whether or not there's snow on the ground, when the surprising sweetie comes around, you can have a snowball fight anytime. But don't expect it to go easy on you. You're in for a one-sided defensive battle, and you might end up looking like a snowman by the end. Look, like other members of the Lithropod family, its eternal bacteria are specialized to form ice compounds from ambient moisture, which it then expels as projectiles. It technically doesn't rely on cold temperatures to create this ice, which is formed by pressurized eternal fluids that act as a coolant. When the projectiles rapidly expand, they absorb ambient heat, lowering the air temperature enough for the moisture in the air to freeze. Oh. Peel back the shell and sprinkle the tender meat with a dash of salt before slurping it up raw. For a refreshing dessert, pour fruit juice over the snowballs. Arctic cannon beetle. A beautiful armored bug that sparkles like a diamond. The sight of it busily tromping along, the way it sucks in the air and spews out snowballs, everything about it is remarkable. While standing transfixed by its stunning appearance, you'll end up covered in snow for sure. Upon reaching maturity, the blowhole on its head closes. Oh, that's pretty cool. Leaving in its place a pointed crest of the Arctic cannon beetle's shell. In order to get enough food in nutrient-deficient environments, adult specimens start breathing through their mouths. Some experts have posited that this adaptation caused the species to lose territorial competitions with the armored cannon larva, driving it into cooler environments. Though this beetle has increased suction strength, it must ventilate via a spiracle on its abdomen and opens the shell to avoid rapid body inflation. Boil the meaty legs until fully cooked, then drizzle with a generous amount of lemon juice. Once the juice has seeped its way into the muscle fibers, suck the meat out of the shell with one big slurp. Oh, here we go, the mama shear grub. Since it's exponentially large, when it squirms to move or wriggles minutely side to side to dig its whole body into the ground like a drill, you can observe it in all its exceptional detail. The way it moves is quite enchanting to watch. If only we could super duper size all creatures like, no, I don't want that. If there's ever going to be a Pikmin 5, don't let that happen. The mama shaker will typically molt when it reaches maturity, then digs itself into the ground to prepare for egg laying. However, certain types like this specimen exhibit neoteny and neoteny and retain the appearance of a juvenile of this species. If this species locate an abundant food source, they won't leave it. Sometimes it will stay at the spot for years, steadily growing to gigantic proportions like this one. Though this specimen has the look of a juvenile, it has fully developed reproductive abilities and can achieve impressively high birth rates. Its offspring, however, are the same size as a typical sheargrub. Best enjoyed when big and round and full of eggs. Salt lightly, then grill. The squishy, sticky mouthfeel will have you coming back for more. What's next? Ooh, the shear flea! If you find any of these busy little bouncers happily hopping about, try jumping in with the... Are you fucking serious, Dalmo? You want to jump in with them? These things are fleas! These things will jump on you, and these things will suck all of your blood like vampires. What is wrong with you? If you do, they may just have to come for cut. This guy cannot be serious. I refuse to believe this guy is actually serious. They're such sweet little love bugs. Ugh. The sensory hairs growing on this creature's orange body segments can detect body temperatures, movement, and carbon dioxide levels. It clings to its prey with its claw-like front legs and sucks their blood through its pointed proboscis. Research has found that the shear flea can store energy created while contracting its bellows-like body in the elastic proteins located at the roots of its hind legs, allowing it to repeatedly jump very high. Its reproductive rates are rather explosive. A small group of egg-laying females can boom into a population of over 100 in a month's time. These things, I don't like them. They look weird. Salty and sour and sometimes sweet. The flavor changes depending on which living creature it's fed from most recently. Oh. Ooh, Joustmite. The eyeball-like pattern on its shell reminds me of my father's eye staring at me after we buried him in the sand at the beach. We dug him out immediately when he gave us that look. I'm picturing it, and I hate it. Makes it easy to imagine what an effective deterrent those staring eyes must be to natural predators like birds. Others within this family wear the shells on their bellies, but this one's shell functions more like a helmet. Its wings have atrophied into uselessness, so instead it burrows beneath the ground and pops out only to pierce prey with its needle-like proboscis and drain their body fluids. Ugh. Larva joustmites remain underground for years or even decades in some cases. Boil in the shell with a pinch of salt until bright red, then serve piping hot with tartar sauce. Flighty joustmite, the one that can fly, with a countenance like a little helmet-wearing soldier. It zips up to set its sights from the sky, then strikes its target. This captivating critter is truly a pro. It's unfortunate that we see it. It's unfortunate that when it flies up in the air, you can't see the clever false eyes, its shell, or its charming face anymore. I'm glad, because it looks really weird. It's a close relative of the original Burrownit species. Oh, I did not know. I remember playing Pikmin 3 and going, where's the cloaking Burrownit? But that's the closest thing we got to it. So it is a close relative after the original one. That's pretty interesting. But this variety of joustmite still has the use of its wings. Oddly, it still makes its habitat below ground and employs the same tactic of lying in wait before emerging to strike. The helmet protecting its head is functionally as hard as steel due to its waxy secretion in its pores that absorb and redirect any shocks it sustains. Remove shell, roast over a low flame, then grind meat. Whisk base into olive oil until emulsified. An extra dash of cumin leads some earthiness to this spicy salad dressing. Swooping Snitchbug, Skittleleaf. Ooh, Desiccated Skittleleaf. I actually hate these things. These are so annoying. But a very, very clever enemy introduction. These things blend in quite well with some of the areas in Pikmin 3. And I think Pikmin 4 as well. I can't remember. I do remember seeing them underground. Or maybe or in the final area. I think they were in the final area. Well, anyway, Desiccated Skittleleaf. This one is a master of disguise, provided the season is right. As a fun little game, try collecting a bunch of dried leaves and shuffle Mr. Desiccated Skittleleaf in with them. If you pick out a normal leaf, you lose. But if you pick up this clever critter, you win big. Feeling lucky? No, these things are fucking deadly. They're fast, and they eat very fast. These things are feared. The skittling variant that resembles dead leaves, its legs have developed in specific ways. The front claws capture prey, while the flat hind legs are suited for running and swimming. I've never seen them in water. I've only seen the normal Skittleleaves in water, but not these things. Its highly tuned senses keep it still for any creature but Pikmin. Oh, once it gets its claws on its prey, it doesn't easily let go. Yeah, I know. I had a few run-ins when my first playthrough of Pikmin 3 going, what the hell is this? Recent research has revealed that its camouflage has a second purpose beyond hunting. Scavengers are fooled by its disguise into carrying its eggs, thereby expanding the population. No preparation needed to enjoy this flavorful beast. Its natural crunch gives way to an intriguing mouthfeel. Fiery Dweevil, Anode Dweevil, Hydro Dweevil, not Caustic, Ice-Blown Dweevil, and Venom Dweevil? I thought it was Munge. Well, anyway, Ice-Blown. Achoo! It's always important to keep you cool, but my proximity to this frosty darling may be making me a bit too cold. Just one blow from this critter is as it skitters about on its icy long legs is quite chilling indeed. Dweevils have varied body colors in response to their feeding habits. Each species feeds on different types of plants and small animals, so the symbiotic bacteria that creates their pigmentation differ as well. The ice-blown Dweevil lives in cold habitats and spews frigid gas, so the workings of the symbiotic bacteria are dulled and retains its natural color, which is white. It has been confirmed that in more temperate climates, where food that the fiery Dweevil eats is readily available, the ice-blown Dweevil's coloration is much peachier. Soak the legs in fruit juice and freeze. Serve as a refreshing ice pop. Venom Dweevil. Okay, so not Munge. Alright then. Is this just another different color of Dweevil? Not at all. You see here a fashion leader of the critter world. There was once a purple one as well, but this year's trendy color is green. So they probably, it's giving like a little reason. Is that that's a carcass of a snow blowhog, of the snowy blowhog. So they give a little reason why the Munge Dweevil's not here in exchange for the Venom, okay. But this year's trendy is green. Be sure to bring protective gear to see through it. This skittling sweetie can produce a toxic gas if threatened. The Venom Dweevil is a member of the Dweevil family, which is known for mimicking objects by carrying on their backs. Yes, we know. We've gone through the many Dweevils in Pikmin 2. These insects often carry the carcasses of other life forms on their backs. Apparently, this is not for the purpose of transporting them as food, but instead... Wait. Is this just the same? Did they just give a different color and a name to the Munge Dweevil? Oh, well, I'm going to go through it anyway. But instead is another example of their mimic behavior. The Venom Dweevil produces two different chemical compounds. Yeah, it is! It's the exact same! Oh, okay, never mind then. Exposure to even extreme heat doesn't seem to rid this creature of its disposition to a potent gas. It's probably best for everyone if you avoid eating this hazard flare. Okay. Arachnode. Arachnode. It has an agreeable personality. What do you mean by that? And as long as Meals doesn't get caught in its web, it will sit there curled up into a cuddly ball and waiting. You have to throw some food or even use yourself as bait if you wish to see it. What the fuck is wrong with you? You're using yourself as bait to just see this thing move. This thing's freaking deadly. Once you get stuck in that web, it's going to be a little bit until something gets you out of there. Whoops. Whoops. See, look. For example, let me just throw this Pikmin carrot. I missed. Look at this. He instantly eats it. He's going to scurry around, and then he instantly goes for it. Yeah, it's not fun. It's not fun whatsoever. Alright, anyway, what a leisurely method of hunting. I hate this guy. This spider-like creature has distinctive yellow stripes on its black carapace. It spins webs in high-traffic areas and waits for prey to blunder into them. Unlike its relatives in the arachnoid and weevil families, it's ambisexual and has 8 legs. Some theorize that this granadry is meant to aid in reproduction, though of course it cannot reproduce on its own. There is another theory that this species is in fact 2 organisms of opposing gender stuck together. But since no one has ever found a 4-legged single-sex specimen, this remains speculative. Block off the legs and crack open and savor the meat inside. Dip them in soy sauce first for a nice mix of sweet and salty. Ooh, Baldy Longlegs. I really don't know why they got rid of Beady Longlegs. It was such an iconic boss in the first 2 games, and they just replaced it with the Baldy Longlegs. If you lie down and look up from this hulking critter while this hulking critter is walking over, you'll be treated to an impressive view of this guy is actively throwing his life away just to get a glimpse of this dude's body. I don't like it. You'll be treated to an impressive view of this giant round body soaring past like an orbiting planet. Of course, you may get squished flat by one of its massive feet and become a star yourself. Ugh. A shaggy longlegs that has lost its hair. Yes, it has similarities to the beady longlegs, but it doesn't secrete wax from its exoskeleton and thus lacks its cousin's unique patterning. The absence of wax also allows small insects to climb its legs without slipping. So that explains why Pikmin are able to climb its legs and attack it from the middle. Its central orb spits horizontally, but researchers have yet to determine the significance of this difference. It is not as tasty as it looks. Completely inedible. Oh, well, poor Louie. We've gone through the man at legs at the Pikmin 2, but the groovy long legs, this is new. With mesmerizing lights that pierce through the darkness and a low groove that stirs your soul. How can you not get your dance on? Is it a creature or machine? Who cares? Anyone can join this party. A word of caution though, be very careful if you don't dance right underneath. Be careful you don't dance right under one of its feet. This species has some remaining organic internal organs, but its carapace and eyes are made up of inorganic material. All 19 of its eyes are actually photoelectric sensors. Wait, so that's the eyes? Those are its eyes? that the species uses to precisely locate its prey. That's horrifying. I don't like that. The gas emitted from the posterior of its first leg joints includes a chemical substance that, after making contact with another organism's brain, temporarily controls that organism's actions. The groovy long legs uses this natural phenomenon called the endless dance to make its prey jump between its legs while it moves around in bizarre rhythms. The entire interaction is seemingly odd for a living organism, but the line between organic and inorganic on this planet is not always clear. This creature is mostly tendon, so it often gets stuck in your teeth. Smells like burnt plastic or possibly metal. Anode beetle, iridescent flint beetle, doodlebug, And, ooh, Scatterchuck! Watching it move around on the very tips of its tippy toes is like watching a ballet. If you offer it to be a dance partner for this little spiky toad sweetie, it will leap high in the sky. I bet this agile creature will have no trouble sticking the landing. I've never seen it jump. It only chucks. It's not called the Scutter Jump. It's the Scutter Chuck. Its main offensive strategy is to launch the crystal it carries on its back. Otherwise, it's completely defenseless. In most circumstances, it's a peaceful herbivore whose diet consists primarily of moss. Not the dog, just the regular moss. When in danger, however, it wastes no time defending its territory by breaking small rocks and hurling them at the threat. In order to ensure it has a steady supply of rocks with which to defend itself, it shares its habitat with calcified crushblat larvae so it can make use of its shell they cast off. We've only seen that enemy in Pikmin 3. We haven't seen it in any other game, but we will get to it in Pikmin 3. It's actually a really weird enemy. An acquired taste, but it's really quite addictive once you get used to it. No special preparation necessary. Skeeter Skate. Skeeter Skate. Clean water is a necessity for this water-walking sweetheart, and there's a lot of it at that. Water soiled with oils, detergents, and other pollutants, it could lose the surface tension that supports its specially evolved feet and drown. Ooh. This is an extraordinary creature that could only exist on such water-rich planet. It skates on water at high speed thanks to the tiny hairs on the tips of its feet. These hairs are coated in hydrophobic substance that minimize friction against the water's surface. Its long proboscis functions as a straw that takes in water, which is stored in a reservoir in its head, as well as to spout it as a weapon against small insects. While taking in water, it takes a microscopic plankton. It also takes microscopic plankton, meaning that its prime means of defense is also a feeding mechanism. The extremities cannot be used for food. I don't know why I said food like that. But you can drink the liquid inside for a zesty beverage. The Muckaskate. This cautious critter moves in fits and starts. When it does, the muddy liquid in its transparent orb sloshes around. Splish, splash, splosh. If I could observe this unique anatomy up close, I'd have no regrets, even if I got splattered with mud. A subspecies of the skeeter skate that's adapted to the life in muddy wetlands. It uses its straw-like proboscis, the inside of which is packed with densely grown hair, to capture any plankton living in the mucky water and filter out anything else. When an enemy approaches, it will threaten them by shooting a murky substance. This combination of muddy water and gastric juices has a higher viscosity. I'm going to say that. So it can initially bury Pikmin and a lot of other stuff in dirt. Even after draining the mud, its texture remains gritty. Chew it for long enough, and your teeth will get a good scrubbing. White spectolids, and the yellow spectolid. Ooh, snowflake fluttertail. Please don't call it a flying snowman. That's it, I'm just gonna leave it there. The sight of it flying around with its magnificent wings scattering ice like diamonds evokes thoughts of a snow sprite. Witness this beauty of nature and let it soothe away all of your woes and anxiety. This thing was quite annoying to fight. The cooling cycle in its body uses ammonia as a refrigerant to chill the moisture it absorbs from the air until it reaches a super cooled state. By then spraying it around out of several vents on its belly, the snowflake fluttertail creates a delicate cocoon out of ice to protect itself and freezes its prey. It's rolled up, spirally prosperous, evolved from an upper jaw and can catch and tie up prey with the fine hairs on its surface. Though it mimics a type of swallowtail butterfly, this creature is actually more closely related to moths. One might exfoliate that extrafoliate that its ancient ancestor was unable to adapt to the cooling climate and therefore went extinct. Diced finely or pured to make a meaty sorbet. Add a tiny drizzle of fruit sauce for some punch. Pluck the wings and antenna beforehand to use as a garnish if you want to get fancy. Creeping chrysanthemum. Ooh, startle spore. Even though the creeping chrysanthemum got a upgraded design, fucking jerks with that. Oh my gosh. If you watched my Pikmin 4 Let's Play, you would know I got freaked out by this thing at first glance. I want you to just watch this. That noise it made, like the startling noise it makes, that was so horrifying. Well, anyway, we got the startle spore, a new form of chrysanthemum. These just don't mimic a growth of mushrooms for the fun of catching you by surprise. They also use the opportunity to spread poison around quite indiscriminately. But that's just this little darling's idiosyncratic method for catching its prey. We could learn from the way nature embraces such unique and varied creatures. The defining characteristics of the fungi that grow on its head differ from that of a creeping chrysanthemum of the chrysanthemum family's creeping chrysanthemum, but the makeup of the body out of which they grow is mostly the same. As a result, we can theorize that, like the fellow Abolords, I don't know. Oh, the Bulbman! You mentioned the Bulbman! Why weren't the Bulbman in this game? The species is not an evolutionary variation, but that the body is a parasite that is nestled inside a group of mushrooms. Because the hosts are mushrooms, the startle cannot photosynthesize. Instead, it gains nutrients by catching its prey with its highly poisonous fluids, or by absorbing the nectar in the ground left behind as creatures killed by its poison decompose. If you can successfully remove the tongue's poison glands, you'll enjoy a rare opportunity to appreciate the umami synergy of the mushroom and meat combo. Breadbug, giant breadbug, Glildmandui. I love this name. With one little gold-colored stone on its back, it toddles about, lantern flickering cheerfully. It doesn't intentionally deceive Pikmin or our senses. They just respond to the gold-colored stone. It eats Pikmin, so I guess it does actually mean to deceive and eat them. This guy just doesn't. Juvenile. Oh. I just read the scientific name. They just respond to the goal. Only the adults tend to be intentionally deceptive in this world or any other. Immediately after hatching, this species presents itself in a gilled tadpole-like form and grows its legs after about a week. This juvenile glamander specimen is estimated to be about a month old due to the presence of an ogre-like growth on its back and the fact that it has already emerged onto land. The living ore has substances similar to the treasure within it. A peculiar scent and has an effect on both senses and Pikmin. However, the lantern organ on its head is still underdeveloped and can only emit very faint electromagnetic waves. For this reason, juvenile glamanders often hide out of sight to avoid Pikmin attacks. Heat the gold crystals on its back until they melt into a caramel sauce. Flip the creature upside down and bake until the skin develops a crunchy, candied crust. Okay, cool. Just gonna take a little break here. I want to go eat some dinner, so I will be right back. I can't believe I'm doing this. Whew, that was a good dinner. All this talk of Louis eating all these creatures made me feel hungry, so I had some nice pork chops. But anyway, let's just continue. No distractions. Let's go. Glilmander. Notice the gold sparkles on its back. In order to survive, this delight of a creature spends a mind-boggling amount of time collecting those special gold stones. Though it isn't real gold, it can confuse the senses. That's another marvel of the natural world for you. The ore-like growth on its back is a congulated body fluid that includes a substance similar to sparklium, which can make our mechanical senses go berserk, to use the technical term. This living ore emits a scent that lures the creature's prey, so it is also important for their feeding process. The len-like organ atop its head emits electromagnetic waves that are known to affect Pikmin and onions, confusing them into thinking the Glilmander is their leader, allowing it to withdraw Pikmin directly from the onion. Is that a thing? No, this is a boss. Okay, thank God, this is not... Oh, whew. However, it cannot go as far as to command them as squads, so the Pikmin will often hide under cover and are able to avoid ingestion. The meat gives off a faint aroma similar to a hot pepper. The flavor itself is subtle and elegant. Char-grill the land until blackened, and you've got a nutritional superfood. Ooh, a miniature snoot whacker. I love the snoot whacker name. It's so good. The way it catches food, protects its belly, and gets up while working with the weight of its sizable trunk are taught by its diligent parents. Instead of hand and foot, they attend their offspring nose and foot. They prepare their child for the day it will leave the nest and eventually become a parent itself. Immediately after birth, this species' skin starts to harden, and before long it will reach the same impenetrable toughness as that of an adult. Adult snootwhackers dexterously use their trunks to grab food from the high tree branches, but juveniles consume fruits and nuts that have fallen to the ground, as well as other types of terrestrial flora. This specimen's leg and torso muscles are underdeveloped compared to those in their nose, so they lack the strength to maintain their posture and easily lose their balance. Gently peel back the skin from the nose. Its meat has a grassy bitterness, tastes like cucumber. I mean, it kind of does like cucumber, but at the same time, it's more like a watermelon look. Mammoth snootwhacker. If you get close, it will whip its trunk around and around, then smash it on the ground. It might be a chance for an exciting jump rope workout. What is wrong with this guy? If you try throwing a bomb at it, it will use that dexterous trunk to shoot it right back at you. Those are some nose skills that could impress an athlete. The long nose on this specimen has neither bone nor cartilage, but is made up entirely of muscle and can be flexibly curved and extended. Its tough hide consists of densely layered collagenous lattices that cover almost its entire body, leaving only the regular skin on the belly exposed. The fully developed trunk is large and quite heavy, so the mammoth snootwhacker usually rolls it inward to carry it closer to its center of gravity. But if its territory is invaded, it will extend the trunk and flail it around. Even using it to strike a perceived enemy. Just like a juvenile snootwhacker, their nose comprises of a proportional amount. It comprises a disproportional amount of their body weight, resulting in a poor balance. If attacked from behind or from the side, even an adult of this species is easily knocked over. Sun Squish. This gave me the most trouble. Like, I lost 7 Pikmin to this thing. I don't know why. It's a new enemy, so at the time I was like, wow, how do I fight this thing? So, anyway. This peculiar little button has the perfect texture and coloration to pass as an egg-fried sunny side up by a master chef. There's nothing about it that makes it seem threatening. I mean, a master of disguise, and it's shaped like one of those nectar drops. It is quite threatening, and it looks so yummy. I can't help thinking of a delicious breakfast when I see it. A type of primitive organism called a pronochordate. It is in its juvenile state. It has a skeleton-like structure called a notochord. It flaps its inner tail to move. It has a tail? What? Oh, it's finned tail to move and lives within other creatures' eggs as it grows. As its body develops, it starts to exhibit mollusk-like qualities, but its highly exposed external stomach can directly digest prey on contact and can also be used for locomotion. Seasoned with salt and pepper. That's it. Ooh, the Gulix. I'm actually... not Gulix. Foolix. I don't know why Gulix didn't make a return. It's the only Pikmin 1 enemy that didn't make a return. Wait. Actually, yeah, it's the only Pikmin 1 enemy that not actually make a return. Oh, that's quite sad. I actually like Gulix. If you take the microorganisms I used to peer at through my microscope as a child and blow them up much bigger, this is what you get. A huge single-celled sweetie. It's borpily sloshes around in search for food. To this giant world, we're the microorganisms. A member of the Gulix family, this primitive life form is made up of a single cell, which is quite odd given its size. Its nucleus is shaped like a bulbous star, and individuals move by using the fin at the end of its flagellium. Flagellium, I don't know, like tail, to quickly expand and contract its gelatinous body. If the nucleus is removed, its soft body loses all structure and splatters. But as long as the nucleus is still alive, the Foolix can return to its original form. Usually the Foolix will mimic nectar and wait for its prey. Its gel, which includes fire-extinguishing fluids, will then expand to capture and feed on unexpected organisms. Gently remove the jellied parts, add fruit and a sweetener of your choice, then serve as a gelatin dessert. Downy Snagret. The sight of this wee one boinging around and pecking at its food, all while skillfully balanced on its one leg is truly awe-inspiring. If you get too close, it might feel vulnerable and give you a warning poke with its beak, or might just turn to you for comfort. Due to a common phenomenon known as imprinting, this baby will recognize anything that it sees or hears within a given length of time after it is hatched. It hatches as its parent, and consequently follows it around. However, the Downy Snagret has 2 specific conditions for imprinting. The first is that the target must be tall and blue, and the second is related to the sound of its cry. This means that it will never make a mistake with something as small as we are, and will instead recognize it as or us as food. Since it is still a fledgling, the Downy Snagret does not go underground to feed. Instead, it stays on the surface where there is plenty of food. It looks harmless enough, but beware its parents may be hiding nearby. Yeah, we found that out the hard way. Until the baby is old enough to fend for itself. Ooh. Grind up the meat and cartilage, then mold into meatballs. Then the tender texture of the meat contrasts nicely with the crunchy, chewy cartilage bits. Ooh, okay, that's quite interesting. No, we've seen the burying standard. Wattlecloth. It possesses a bottomless stomach and will swallow down anything and everything unfortunate enough to end up in its path. It will consume even things larger than its own body without missing a step, as it's seen eating lots of pellets. The best part is its goofy little head that looks like a fuzzy covered gourd. Its overdeveloped respiratory muscles allow it to suck in large volumes of air through its long thick beak while feeding. Its feathers are too small to use for flying. The current theory is that it is due to its niche position in the ecosystem being quite secure thanks to a lack of natural predators and little competition for food in its habitat. However, with the expansion of Pikmin territory, recently its numbers have been gradually declining. Breasts, thighs, and wings can be baked, roasted, or fried. The rest of the carcass is great for flavoring a rich soup stock. Scorch cake. In a way, it looks kind of like a tasty treat, but in actuality, this burning bivalve relative is a fierce hunter, squishing its prey with a fiery flourish. The beauty of its popping, crackling flames and the dynamic cartwheels can be performed in battle is a spectacle to behold. Olimar. Living creatures can sense... whoops. Wait. That's scorch cake. No, not the shock cake. Related to bivalves, it uses its internal muscles to dexterously manipulate its upper and lower shells. This ability allows it to squash eggs and small ambular dices like Pikmin, thus returning nectar to the ground, and it then feeds off the microorganisms and moss that benefit from the nectar to further facilitate the growth of its food. The scorch cake will secrete oils from its body through its shell and onto the ground. It then sets that area on fire, perhaps as a way to improve soft fertility. Remove the internal meat and place directly on the shell while it's still smoldering to cook. It almost smells better than it tastes. Shock cake. Living creatures can sense your intent and emotions, so if you can face them with your love in your heart, they'll know it. When you love and are loved back, even the occasional electric shock isn't so bad. That's right, instead of play biting, this sweetie does play shocking. Oh, what the hell? Okay. It can zap away shoulder stiffness and fatigue in a flash. This species has muscular organs that can create electricity by using ion gradients within densely layered rows of electricity generating cells, which are arranged in asymmetric series. It uses its plug-like protrusions to instantly shock its prey and then squishes it. The squash prey acts as a fertilizer, improving the quality of the soil so that the microorganisms and moss that the shock cake feeds on can thrive. Saute in butter and cover with a sauce made from the green liver paste. Anyone with a highly developed palate will enjoy the slightly bitter flavor profile. Freeze cake. The way its blue-white shell is woven through the cracks makes it look like a porcelain coaster. What's more, it's cold enough to keep your drink chilled. Of course, this remarkable critter is very much alive and would flip-flop your drink right over. By emitting frigid air from one side of its shell, it can freeze and squash any prey that approaches too closely. Food can be hard to find in extreme cold climates, so one theory is that this specimen has developed some kind of mechanism that allows it to store its prey for long periods of time. The meat under the icy side of the shell is quite muscular, while the other side is nice and fatty. Two great taste in one. Ooh, the puff stool. I want to know why it doesn't create those mushroom Pikmin anymore. I I was so bummed out about that. I was like, oh, the Puffstool returned! But it only makes the Pikmin dance. Come, let us ponder the Puffstool. This devious little bean releases spores that have a hallucinogenic effect on Pikmin. At the first inhale, affection sprouts, and they're drawn in closer. Then they breathe in more and more of the confusion-inducing spores. Soon they are thinking of nothing but the Puffstool as they jump around, boing, boing, boing. A type of amblofungus, the current working theory is that the Puffstool evolved from a common species of fungus that gain animal-like characteristics over time, including the ability to walk. When it senses danger, it will scatter spores from its cap, releasing a hallucinogen that confuses its attackers. The hallucinogenic compound in the spores is only effective against the species' natural enemies, the Pikmin, causing them to mistake it for their leader. Pikmin who fall onto this trap are then used as workers to maintain nutrition or defenses for the Puffstool. No word about it being called the mushroom Pikmin. No, okay then. Flips upside down and cook cap over the charcoal grill, low and slow. Once it starts to sweat, it's ready to eat. The Toxstool. See how it toddles and bounces on its wee little footsies as it goes for a stroll, scattering extremely toxic spores along the way? This creature is a walking nuisance. But there's an odd kind of charm in that bothersome nature that it makes it hard to leave alone. Much like the Puffstool, the Toxstool is neither animal nor fungus, but a mix of the two, or an amblofungus. It doesn't serve a producer or consumer role in the ecosystem, but functions instead as a decomposer. It primarily parasitizes other living organisms by blanketing them with its spores. I think that is what... Oh, however, the Toxstool can infect a deceased specimen as well. Its hyphae is able to move the muscles and control the body as it if bringing it back from the dead. So that is why we can see the Toxstool bring enemies back from the dead. That is kind of cool. Never we've seen... Oh, wait, actually, we have. Spotty Bulbear and Gatling Groink in Pikmin 2, but not an enemy actually using its spores to bring other things back from the dead. That was kind of cool. Bury underground for about 40 days so that the poison can leach out. Its smell will make you gag, but the flavor has notes of chocolate. What the hell? Moldy Dwarf Bulborb. Picture this scenario. Like this poor darling, you're conscious but no longer in control of your own body. Someone or something else has taken you over. A horrifying concept, isn't it? But what if the thing controlling you couldn't live if you didn't do that? Sometimes it's simply a matter of survival. This is an example of a young Bulborb body that's been infected by a fungal filaments. Now a host, it unconsciously continues to seek out and ingest food, all the while scattering large amounts of spores out the spore sacs on its back until it can no longer move. After all host body activity ceases, the specimen mutates into a fungal culture that will eventually become a juvenile Toxstool. Oh, okay. Tastes best if eaten just before the meat spoils. Once all the mold has been removed, enjoy a unique flavor reminiscent of dry-aged meat. Moldy Slooch. Ooh. Slugger, chew, chew. Here comes the fungal spore train. The Miyasama emitting from the fungus on its back has Toxstool spores in it. If you must observe it, do so from as far away as possible, or risk ending up as a fungal choo. What is wrong with this guy? Both the nervous system and slime-producing organ of this specimen has been invaded by fungal filaments, which is why it scatters spores as it moves. It will also shake spores onto other creatures, thus infecting new hosts and expanding the toadstool's habitat and range. Once the host body ceases to function, it can no longer serve as a fungal culture medium because its body fluids dry up and the corpus shrinks. At that point, the host body is abandoned. After removing the poison, the broth is fragrant and savory. Don't drink too much or you'll find yourself with a crippling tummy ache. Pyroclasmic sludge. Whoops, wrong one. The mucus of the pyroclasmic sludge acts as a natural fire starter, but it also seems to serve as an insulation from heat. Gazing onto those flickering flames at night would be a great way to relax, and the ripple pattern going from top to bottom is so mesmerizing. A species of terrestrial snail coated in flammable mucus instead of the traditional shell, the creature stays lubricated through constant secretion of mucus so that the fires never reach its skin. The most fascinating aspect of these creatures is their instinctive ability to avoid causing widespread fires by carelessly brushing plants. Oh, okay. Remove tongue and discard the rest. Cook over a charcoal grill until medium rare. Bearded amprat, not bearded armpit. This little cutie has a long beard that makes it look a bit curmudgeonly. But if you were to try brushing it, do so with caution. This dear one will see for yourself. Moving close to get a good look. Truly a shocking experience awaits you. The hair covering its face works as a capacitor. It charges electricity by rubbing the hair to build static, then discharges at enemies intruding on its territory. It's more territorial than aggressive, attacking one when threatened rather than to hunt prey. It has several qualities unique to its ecosystem, such as breastfeeding its young, which may someday give rise to a whole new taxonomy of fauna here. Pan roast the thighs with sprigs of rosemary and whole garlic cloves. Finish with a squeeze of fruit juice to highlight the subtle notes of lingering electricity. Ooh, a Mamuta, but we've already seen the Mamuta. Porquilin! Oh, I like these little things. They're quite derpy looking. When it cowers down to roll up, it looks like it's feeling lonely. If you get close, the needles all over its body become projectiles that will launch at you. I can't help thinking that this is a plea for attention. It's okay, Prickly Bean. I'll be your friend. No. Its needle-covered armor is soft and quite exposed. Furthermore, it has a cowardly disposition, so when it senses even the slightest danger, it will shoot out its spikes. Regenerating new spikes requires significant amounts of caloric energy, so this creature requires significant amounts of food. This likely explains why it scourges up through the garbage. It sucks up not just the insects it finds, but also the trash itself. They've ingested a few of these SS Dolphin's parts too, but those could never be mistaken for trash. Cut the meat into 4 even slices, dip slices into a beaten egg, then dredge in breadcrumbs. Fry over low heat. Honey wisp, puffy blowhog, icy blowhog! This frosty flyer may exhale frigid breath, but you can't touch it without having to worry about freezing. Its face remains quite cool, but it expels warm air through the little holes on its sides. If you're feeling chilled, you could sindle up to this next to this little one. This guy's weird. This creature possesses 3 lungs, an air sac used as its primary respiratory organ, a flotation bladder that gives its buoyancy, and a cold sac that stores cold air. Like the puffy blowhog, its buoyancy is a result of the hydrogen produced by electrolysis. Its icy breath is condensed carbon dioxide, much like the snowy blowhog. Different species within the blowhog family may have features in common when you look closely at the structure and characteristics of their internal organs. Has a consistency of candy-coated chewing gum, and leaves a refreshing mentholated aftertaste. Withering blowhog, lesser spotted jellyfly, greater spotted jellyfly, wallhole, yellow wallhole, wallyhop, chillyhop! Slick and bulbous with a refreshingly frank face. That's one classy hopper. When it lands after jumping, it spills out cold air around it. Mischievous and cool. This little fella needs to leave us some personality for the rest of us. When squashing prey with its mighty leap, the chillyhop secretes a bodily fluid made up of ammonium nitrate, urea, and water. This causes an endothermic reaction that rapidly freezes its prey, making its attacks all the more lethal. After squashing the prey, it gets sucked up through the chillyhop's belly. Since the species can store its food and slightly chilled state without eating it for a time, it easily adapts to its environments where the prey is scarce. Remove the tender meat surrounding the eyes and stew with soy sauce. The collagen fibers are simply melt in your mouth delicious. Master Hop. Wiggly elastic skin is the proper fit for this bouncing beauty. Slippery smooth and shiny sleek. Its skin is so soft as baby cheeks, though you might want to be wary of getting close enough to it to touch. Just watching it move will make you yearn for the skin that is more radiantly lustrous too. It's widely believed that yellow wallyhops and other related species can continue to grow until they start breeding. But after their growth rate plummets. However, in safe environments, one that lack natural predators, for example, some individuals of the species may forego reproduction altogether and continue growing until they reach gigantic proportions. The yellow wallyhop's telomerasal enzymes are particularly active, which prevents their body cells from aging. Under the right conditions, it is not unusual for some individuals to reach over 50 years in age. Meat can be consumed if first dehydrated with a lot of salt, but the eyeballs and legs are the best parts. Water dumple, puckering blinow. These form a group and then swim gracefully all together as though joined in an underwater dance. Are they a family or traveling as a school? It might be enlightening to watch them with a submersive camera, very quiet, so they don't notice. Ugh. Many assume it's underdeveloped due to its large eyes and lack of fins, but this is simply its normal, fully grown form. Though its dorsal and ventral fins have atrophied, the long caudal fin helps to compensate for this. It can leap high enough out of water to catch low-flying prey. The scales comprising the round patches along the sides are known to turn pink during breeding season. Oh. Whoops. Slice raw and serve as sashimi. The marbled fat gives this dish a deep umami flavor. Prickle Puff. This guy gave me so much trouble. I thought I lost more to this guy, but no, I didn't. Okay. To watch it swimming dreamily along, then spotted again walking plip-plop in tidal flats. The contrast is so great, I can only admire its adaptability. But don't be drawn in by its cute, round little peepers. Much like a rose, this Pricklepuff has very sharp thorns. Oh, I know that. Its hard spikes evolved from scales that were once on its forehead. The Pricklepuff uses them to charge and chase off unknown creatures that enter its territory. Its liver and ovaries contain powerful nerve toxins accumulated from ingesting shellfish and algae with trace amounts of poison. These toxins not only function as an alternative pheromones, but also seem to keep predators at bay. However, once it's dead, the Pikmin have no issues carrying the creature back to the onion, where the poison is broken down into valuable nutrients. Remove the poisonous internal organs, then slice thinly and serve as sashimi. Then the firm meat is brimming with an umami flavor, pairs well with a light, refreshing citrus. What the hell? Vinaigrette. Waddlepuss! This accomplished napper can snore away a whole day, but just watching the peaceful look on its snoozing face conveys a feeling of contentment. Also, if you get too close enough, it can blow bubbles that will envelop you. Have a fun float! It's like dreaming. Its eyes and stubby feet make it like an octopus, hence the name. But it's closer anatomy to a starfish. It sleeps during the day, but will stay alert for approaching predators, which it drives off by puffing itself up and releasing bubbles. Closer research suggests that the true purpose for bubbles is to protect its eggs during spawning season. Perfect for making ahead meals. Marinate the boiled meat in balsamic vinegar and chill for a few hours. The longer you let it sit, the richer the flavor. Aristocrab offspring. It pokes its little eyes just a bit out of the sand and stays very still, waiting patiently for us to come by. Even if we know they're hiding there, it's best to act surprised and give them a good shout of alarm. That's the best way to help them feel successful in their endeavors. A juvenile peckish aristocrab, small in size, its right pincer is only half grown. Because of this, it often hunts by hiding underground and lying in wait to ambush its prey. Generally, crabs pass through the larval stages Zoea and Megalopar as they approach juvenile crabhood. Instead, the peckish aristocrab is born with a body shaped like an onion, absorbing its nutrition through the ground and sprouting legs as it grows. Perhaps it is a close relative of species in the Albuloractixis. I don't know what the hell. Throw a mountain of aristocrab offspring onto a pot for a yummy and simple miso soup broth. Peckish aristocrab. Click, click, click goes the crab's pincers as it tries to impress other crabs. The crab with the biggest claw will be the most popular. Being popular means not having to work as hard to claw their way to the top of the crustacean hierarchy. Hierarchy? I'm going to say that. Whoops. The natural world is a lot like our world in that way. Its unnaturally large claws is used for catching prey, for self-defense, and, most surprisingly, for its mating call. Most aspects of the aristocrab's life revolve around it, which may explain why they become fearful and docile when the claw is damaged. It would also account for the claw's remarkable regenerative capabilities, which can restore it completely in a single night. That would probably explain why, if you don't kill it overnight in one day, but just break its claw, it might get it the next day. It is known to blow bubbles when under attack, but this is a result of it venting from the wrong discharge valve when under extreme stress. Great for a hot pot. Remove the shell and cook legs in a hot broth. When they turn nice and red, pull them out and slather in liver paste before eating. Sorry, I had to drink there. I'm getting very, very dehydrated. Grub chucker. The mouth on top of its head is somehow sick and ostentatious at the same time, combined with the way it carries its claws like it's ready to give you a trim. This cutie looks like the charismatic beautician of the creature world, though the way it tosses its food in the air shows rather poor equitic. This bipedal creature walks upright, so its motions is noticeably slow, but the long reach of its pincers is useful for catching prey and tossing it into the wide mouth on top of its head. When young, this mouth stays closed, and the grub chucker lives on things like shellfish, nuts, and fruits, eating using the small trophy located behind the feelers below its eyes. As it grows, its simpittle mouth opens and it can start eating larger quantities of food. It has few natural enemies, primarily due to its height. However, it's often found in dimmer wetlands or underground to protect the soft top of its shell from the sun rays. Pluck off the lips and serve with lemon and salt as an appetizer. Coat the arms and legs with plenty of miso for a full course dinner in a shell. Hermit chromad, bug-eyed chromad. Its peepers aren't just big; they're capable of seeing things our eyes can't. This bug-eyed darling could identify all sorts of unknown objects for us if we showed it what it looked to look at. How useful could that be? Like its cousin, the hermit chromad, it makes its home in a burrow rather than a shell. It has abnormally overdeveloped eyes with which to detect prey in cloudy water or low visibility mud. These enormous eyes can perceive circular polarized light, as well as the ultraviolet and infrared spectrum. It is well protected from predators, allowing it to live upward of 50 years and grow to an immense size by repeated insidious. When grilled, serve as an excellent filling for an offbeat po' boy. If you have any leftover, add it to a liver base to deepen flavor. Crusted rum pump. With a red carapace curved like a jaunty sun hat and a tail sporting vivid yellow tufts, this critter is a natural illustration of good fashion, but its face and personality exhibit only true ferocity. It will open its mouth wide and charge at you with alarming speed. That juxtaposition of artistic exterior coupled with an aggressive attitude is intriguing. Its body is covered in a hard carapace, and it has an extremely ferocious personality. It spreads its sharp fanged jaws to catch its prey. The crusted rumpup suffers from poor vision, but it uses the fine hairs on the lower part of its tail and ball-shaped sensory organ at its tip to detect faint quasi electrostatic fields emitted by other organisms. In short, it has other ways to sense its predators and prey. The tip of the tail tastes almost fruity, with notes of sweet and sour. Pairs well with soft, ripened cheeses. Pearly clamp. On sand hills or in the sea, whether it may be, it never moves from its spot. It will sit and wait for someone to wander past. Someone being prey, preferably. Though it could also be someone who knows the value of the beautiful shell or the pearl it holds nestled inside. Using the pearl that takes shape inside the body as bait, this creature lures prey into its interior and traps them with its shell to feed. It's also worth noticing that this pearl may be just an amalgamation of outside materials wrapped in viscous gelatin exterior. On the frequent occasions when it cannot gather food for itself, this creature can also obtain nutrients when the symbiotic algae within its body photosynthesizes. For this reason, it can be often found with its mouth open on shores or sandy beaches that get a lot of sunshine. Heating the shell over a strong fire to bring out the umami-rich juices. Finally, mince the mantle and toss with noodles. Top with sesame seed buns. Toady Bloyster, Bloomcat Bloyster. With a peaked carapace and adulterating mouth, it goes around cleaning up everything in its path. It's the organic vacuum cleaner of the world, of the natural world. If you startle it, it opens its top like an umbrella, which can be quite a surprise to whoever is watching. The origin species from which the ranging and Toady Bloyster evolved. It carries a large shell on its back, the exposed head and legs covered by a layer of tough muscle, so it barely moves even when attacked. On the other hand, it is extremely sensitive. It has extremely sensitive flower-like gills that are characteristic of the mollusking family. When the gills are touched, the Bloyster cannot breathe and must open its shell, exposing its soft body. Amphibious with a gentle demeanor, it simply swallows up anything that happens to enter its field of vision, kind of like a living vacuum cleaner. The fatty muscle that controls those adulterating motions must be eaten fresh. All the quick movement means the meat toughens quickly. Bug swallow. It pops out of the mud, often with no warning, to say hello. With a body like a hose and big round mouth, it sates its appetite by feeding on the mud itself. Its 6 bright eyes means it's sure to see the fondness we have for its 6 times better. I hope it eats up all that unending affection. This species prefers to inhabit cloudy, stagnant water like in the swamps, and spends most of its life buried in mud and hiding. Using its 6 eye-like sensory organs, it can detect minute movements in the water and vibrations on nearby land. It will then forcefully leap out of the water and suck up its prey to feed. With its entirely cartilaginous skeleton and somewhat primitive features like its round, chinless mouth, it appears to be somewhat of a primeval creature. Leave it out overnight to drain the mud from the carcass. When ready to eat, cut into rings, then grill over a high heat. The more you chew it, the more flavorful it becomes. Water Wraith. No, we've already gone over you in Pikmin 2, but the Smoky Prog we haven't. In the night above ground or in the dark passages below, you suddenly notice an egg. If you leave the egg alone, and a being of terror is born out of it. A mysterious fiend dragging itself along, but I feel like this misunderstood deer may be trying to communicate with us. Perhaps this is this is a pure Pikmin killing machine. I hate the Smoky Prog. Oh, the Smoky Prog's body is constantly deteriorating, so collecting a living sample has proven difficult, and research into this species has progressed at a glacial rate. However, by examining the genes a hindred to the Smoky Prog's eggs, it has been confirmed that they are, in fact, Mamuta eggs! So it has been confirmed! Cool! Oh, that is so cool. This discovery allows for the possibility that a Mamuta that do not develop properly and hatch become Smoky Progs. Ooh! If, hypothetically, a Bermuda were to remain above ground at night and absorb glow sap, that might impact the nutrient levels within its egg yolk. That change could lead to the embryo's inviability or breakdown in its enzymes. Then maybe... Oh, that's really, really interesting. Egg tastes best when smoked. So, smoky pro. The flavor of the belly and the... Wait, how would Louis know how to cook and eat this thing? This thing is very dangerous and could kill you on impact. How did you get a bite of this thing? The head is pleasantly warming. Ugh. Ooh, Ancient Shirehound. We got the final boss of this game. A coat that's dense and rough like a primeval forest. A stench like a wet canine and shockingly toasty body temperature. Clearly a dog in every sense. The long history of dogs being companions, we can rely on triggers and instinctive reaction through our entire bodies. If I were left on this planet with this massive cutie, I'd be content. If we harvest stem cells from this gigantic canine creature and cultivate them with glow sap, the generated serum should return Ochi's leafified tail to normal once administered. These results would indicate that 99.9% of this canine creature's DNA matches Ochi's, and that the only difference between Ochi and Moss may be the natural presence or absence of a leaf tail. If these two theories prove to be true, it would suggest the possibility that this ancient creature is a common ancestor to two canine species from vastly remote star systems, and that perhaps there are even more hidden secrets out there that could hint at a fascinating yet inconceivable truth the universe has yet to reveal. The ultimate rider, plush and comfortable. I wish I can bring it home with me. He doesn't want to eat this one. For once, Louis found something he doesn't want to eat. Moss. Moss got a Piklopedia entry. So did the Pikmin. That's actually quite interesting. I can't wait to get to that. Ochi and Moss are two peas in a pod. It's quite unprecedented that a space dog should meet such a similar creature on a far-off, unknown planet. You could even call it marvelous. Could they be siblings separated at birth? No, that's just not possible. As far as I can tell, Moss has been a leafling pup since birth, and some of her DNA resembles that of a Pikmin. This is one point in which she differs from Ochi. When Ochi transformed from a standard space dog into a leafling pup, I started to theorize that the Pikmin are in some capacity propagating their DNA in other organisms. The phenomenon in which all those castaways, including myself, became leaflings is very likely caused by being absorbed into the onion. Perhaps that process was also some sort of Pikminification of the body. Pikminified organisms can't leave this planet, so the Pikmin may have been motivated to carry out this process in an effort to secure a permanent leader. Of course, this is all a theory, so technically, the bad ending of the first game is probably in result of why Olimar became a leafling in the first place. The whole story of Pikmin 1 got changed with the introduction of Moss. So therefore, I think... Oh wait, no, but Olimar met Moss before he was a... I don't understand. Why did they change the story? I don't understand. Convenient for procuring ingredients, compact with a tight turning radius. And the Pikmin got their own unique entries. And, they don't get eaten in this. Okay. These peppy little darlings are a vivid scarlet red. As you can tell by their appearance, these critters are very passionate. In fact, they're such hotheads that they're immune to fire. Even their displays of affection are ardent. They'll beat up their tiny fists on you in an abundance of enthusiasm. Pikmin are a part of the... Oh, what the hell? What the... Amblosadis radicus class, which consists of creatures that exhibit both plant and animal characteristics. A Pikmin will instinctively follow whoever plucks it from the ground, so it is quite common for them to form symbiotic relationships with other specimens or accept a leader of a different species, as it serves the goal of propagating their own species as a whole. The Pikmin is the most common Pikmin species. It can be identified by the nose-like protuberance on its head, and its highly aggressive behavior. It also has a few surprising and unique qualities. For example, its immunity to extreme heat and fire, despite the fact that it is a living organism. This can be explained by looking closely at its skin and muscle fibers, which are made up of flame-resistant cellulose. Looks like a Pikmin carrot. I bet it tastes good, but I'm practicing self-restraint. Oh, Louie. We gotta have some restraint. Okay. Yellow Pikmin. Look at the extraordinary big pointy ears on the adorable yellow Pikmin. I doubt you can whisper a secret they won't hear. Try throwing one. They can easily retrieve objects for you from places you can't reach. Also, electricity doesn't faze them at all. They're shockingly useful little guys. Even though electricity has been nerfed to shit in this game and it doesn't kill Pikmin anymore, it just leaves them stunned. It insta-killed in the second game. It stunned for a few seconds and left unattended. Will kill in the third game, but no, in this game, it's a joke. It's generally believed that the Pikmin body was originally the root of a plant that has evolved over centuries, if not millennia, developing structures analogous to muscles, neural networks similar to those of a brain, and more. However, the yellow Pikmin possesses a perfect resistance to electricity, a force which actually poses extreme danger to other organisms. Oddly enough, this species of Pikmin actually seems to enjoy electricity. Their flowers even bloom when they are exposed to electric current. This fact would lead one to believe that their neural transmission methods are quite different than our own. This species often use their ear-like lamella on its head to soar to great heights and dig holes. When I look at it, all I see is ears. Blue Pikmin. It wouldn't be overstating to say that watching these Pikmin navigate the water with the grace of a fish is one of the most lovely things to behold on this whole planet. But if you really want to see them swimming, you'll need to offer them some live bait. The accepted theory is that the Pikmin evolved from terrestrial root vegetables, so it would be unable to breathe. Would be able to breathe underwater and subsequently drown. Yet the blue Pikmin possesses a gill resembling a mouth on their head, which enables them to be active underwater. While on land, they leaf and flower like other Pikmin species, and they breathe through the stomata on their skin, indicating they must be naturally amphibious. Pigment proteins on the surface of their body initially perform the same photosynthetic process of cyanobacteria, for example, which is what gives them their striking color. I look at that mouth and I want to put my hand in it just to see what would happen. Rock Pikmin. Rock Pikmin may be rugged and craggy in appearance, but their well-polished skin is cool and smooth to the touch. Those dark, shiny stone bodies are built for defense, and they're capable attackers too. And did you notice their stubby little legs? Aren't they the cutest? These species is definitely a member of the Pikmin genus, but its body does not share any plant-like traits that Pikmin are known for. Instead, it's composed primarily of stone. The stone is actually the chosen host for a parasitic subset of Pikmin species nicknamed Hermicmin. What the fuck? Similar to how a seed can sprout and push through the cracks of a rock, the Pikmin's roots can stretch deep into the stone, storing its vital organs in an interior cavity that resembles a crystal geode. Because this species displays characteristics common in parasitums, one could hypothesize that the rock onion and rock candy pop bud stockpile stone that will eventually host the rock Pikmin. I think I broke a tooth on one of these. Oh my god, Louis' notes for the Pikmin is just too good. These peculiar little flyers look like they're wearing goggles. Don't be put off by their odd appearance, though. Places that seem like dead ends, such as treacherous roads, lakes, swamps, and sheer cliffs, are nothing to them when they are not carrying anything. With a few flaps of their tiny wings, they flit through the air like fierce fairies. The wings on their back of this flying Pikmin species closely resemble the wings you would find on a flying creature. It's possible that an ancient winged onion somehow absorbed the flying creature's DNA, then which resulted in a precursor to the winged Pikmin transforming into these species we recognize today. If this theory is correct, the onions might also be serving the role of messenger, transmitting new traits and characteristics to their Pikmin. I once had a dream that I was abducted by a winged specimen, Louis. With the frigid air welling up endlessly from the inside their bodies, they can freeze anything. They freeze anything at all. If you throw enough of them in a pod, they'll freeze the surface so solidly that you can walk right across it. They're just like little ice wizards. Pikmin supposedly evolved from plants, yet there are also Pikmin species with bodies made of ice, known as ice Pikmin. How is this possible? The answer to this question lies in the fact that ice Pikmin are parasitic by nature, and the ice serves as their host. The composition of this type of ice is predictably mostly water, but it resembles saline solution with faint concentrations of trace sodium ions, potassium ions, and calcium ions, or whatever, that function as neurotransmitters. Interestingly, the ice exhibits no visual signs of melting or dripping when exposed to sunlight. This is due to its low temperature core, which continuously creates more ice in order to maintain its constant size. A kitchen it's not utensil. Essential. Used for freezing ingredients and storing leftovers. White Pikmin. These tiny white Pikmin can dart about swiftly. Their bold red eyes are as charming as they are startling. Like a flower that has sharp thorns, these cute little ones possess a potent poison. Such small critters need to be tough to survive. White Pikmin are born through a color-changing process within white candy pop buds, which only grow underground. And yet, we did find their onion. The poison within its body is a type of ditterpenny, accolade similar to a toxin often found in certain plant roots. If ingested, it could lead to vomiting, respiratory distress, and complete organ failure. Ugh. Or certain doom to lots of enemies, like instant death. Ultimately resulting in death due to cardiac arrest. Okay, right there, you just said it for me. Though strong, this poison also has medical uses, sometimes going by the name aconite. The Pikmin are radiuses, I don't know, and evolved from plants, but it seems some specimens retain more of their plant-like base evolutionary heritage than others. Not to be ingested. Best used as bait. No, not once have I used these little guys as bait. They're just too good to pass up, and they're very, very scarce. It's profoundly heavy feeling holding a living thing in your arms. It can be overwhelming to realize that this thing is really alive. That said, these little ones have a density to them that makes them extremely heavy. To hold them at all is difficult. I actually don't worry, they're strong enough that they can hold you. Gotta give it to Olimar, Louis, the president, Alf, Brittany, Charlie, and the player here, like our little customizable character, to actually throw these guys if they're that heavy. Slightly larger in size, purple Pikmin can weigh up to 10 times as much as other Pikmin species, and when thrown to the ground, the impact creates a gravitational waves that can actually warp space-time. It's astonishing. Yeah, that's the only way we can fight the water ray. Thank God for their thick fat ability. The density of their muscle fibers is also much higher than that of other Pikmin, allowing them to transport 10 times as much weight as their average size counterparts. Their rich purple color is derived from strong polyphenol antioxidants. Like white Pikmin, they are born from underground candy buds, and no related onions have been discovered so far. Olimar, go down a few steps and check out the big onion we have at base. I assure you, I have white and purple in there. Deep among the relics of the past, a purple onion is waiting to be discovered. Oh, never mind then, he knows about it. What? See, right there. I got it right there. No, oh, whoops. Very heavy. Tenderizing the meat would be way too difficult. The majesty of nature, the mystery of life. I feel that these stale cliches can't fully express the extraordinary symbiotic relationship between Pikmin and onions. Is there a connection here of an affectionate nature, perhaps? There's so much we still don't know. Sometimes it lays dormant, much like a bulb, but dig it up from the ground and provide it with the right stimulus. For example, a good hard shake, and it will activate a sprout through three to root like legs. It serves as a role similar to a nest or incubator for the Pikmin, absorbing pellets or the bodies of the dead creatures from their nutritional value, and then propagating Pikmin of the same color as itself. Onions also seem to greedily attempt to replicate certain characteristics of the matter they absorb by combining with or absorbing other onions, sometimes of the same type. It has been confirmed that just like Pikmin, an onion has muscle fibers in its body, and though it is unable to walk, it is capable of small range of motion. However, when one breaks down the biological matter it has absorbed, a fuel similar to bioethanol, it is created. Onion sprays this fuel out of the mouths on their underbellies and are able to fly out using their flower-like propellers for stabilization. If you look closely, you'll see its legs are sprouting a dense layer of hair. Oh, Flalic. What? I think I called this a Farlick during the Let's Play. I didn't know it was. I know it was called something like that. I just didn't know it was Flalick. But I think I did correct myself in a few episodes. Dice thinly, grate, saute, and that. Why are you talking about eating this thing? Did Louis rub off on you? I can barely stand the grumbling in my tummy right now. But when you see one of these shiver or twitch, you'll realize that this is a living thing, and yet Louis loves to eat every single living thing. And must treat it with a consideration as such. No. While it doesn't sprout or create Pikmin, this specimen is a type of onion. A bulb like this one can be divided into 7 segments. It is highly nutrient dense and contains strong energizing and anaphylactic effects. The compounds responsible for its characteristic smell resemble onion growth hormones. When absorbed by an onion, it fulfills its critical role in Pikmin proliferation by increasing the total number of Pikmin that can be withdrawn from the onion at any time given. I hate the fact that you can only have 3 types at a time during it on the field. I hate how they did that. Just like onions, it contains muscle fibers, but Flalik has no animalistic qualities to speak of. However, if you place one near an onion, it may start to move a bit, as though it is trying to roll over. It can be absorbed. Saute an oil to add a fragrant spice to your dish, but eat too much and you'll smell like it for days. Candy pop bud. The longer you look at, hang on. I had to take a little sip there. The longer I look at it, the more I feel a strange urge to throw something into it. Scrambling to the intrusive thought. I once threw a bomb into one. When I did, patooey, it spat the bomb right out. I can't help seeing some sort of like response in that. What looks like the interior of a flower is actually an insectivorous leaf that's developed into an organ. This organ releases a sweet scent from its central pistil, luring small insects into its interior and trapping them. The DNA of those captured organisms is directly absorbed by the plant's cells, which might indicate that this this species is attempting to evolve at an astounding speed, but in most cases, the cells initially self-destruct. The bud that releases Pikmin seeds of the same color, and the plant withers. Muscle fibers extremely similar to those of an onion were also found in this species, so one could theorize that the candy bud is an underdeveloped onion. However, there are not enough details to confirm this theory either way. Way too spicy for a salad, no matter what color bug you use. Pellet-Posy. You know what would have been really cool? If they made a Pellet-Posy enemy to like eat Pikmin when you throw them on top of it. Like, acts as a disguise. The pellet cradle in the pellet changes colors like some form of chameleon, aligning to match the color of nearby Pikmin. It's almost though it's inviting us to come harvest it to make more. Even though it appears to be helping out, it's really just using us to spread its seeds. In the stem of the Pellet-Posy, one can... Oh, wait, we've already seen Pellet-Posies! Burgeoning Spiderwort got one? Oh! This fruit, unlike a pellet, is juicy and plumpy. What's more, that is not just any juice inside it. What's more, that's not just any juice inside it. There's a super spicy spice in there. Eating spicy things can be a fun way to jumpstart our taste buds. Perhaps the Pikmin in this world like to spice things up as well. Like the Pellet-Posy, while nectar is a primary source of nutrients, this burgeoning spiderwort produces fruit with a high amount of super spicy compound. Both this plant and the Pellet-Posy are part of the pelletweed family, but the spiderwort does not crystallize nectar because of the different fungi that parasiticize its roots. Instead, it produces alkaloids that contain those extra piquant compounds. The alkaloids are then extracted and collected by the way of the plant's fruit. Whenever or not a plant produces super spicy or super sweet compounds, it seems to depend on the type of fungus with which it interacts. Dry out the fruit and grind into a fire consistency, perfect for adding a touch of spice. Glow Pikmin! Here you are, far from home, stranded on a strange planet with a night even more dangerous than an unforgiving day. But in that night, the faint, gentle light given off by these gloriously glowing little beans brings us hope to our adventures. That shine is a beacon of life that we recognize in our hearts. Did that say hearts? Yes. Although they've been named glow Pikmin, it is not entirely clear whether or not this species is actually a type of Pikmin. These creatures possess the same some fundamental behaviors of Pikmin, like carrying things, propagating, and fighting. They also share special characteristics, such as a leaf on top of their head. Yet they do not spawn from an onion, but a lumicole. And they are only active at night or underground. During the day, they revert into seeds and enter a resting state. What's even more surprising is that they exhibit no signs of life. When a glow Pikmin dies, if that word can even be used, it does not expire in a typical sense. Instead, it just becomes a form of light or perhaps a photon and returns to the lumicole. Putting aside my scientist hat for a moment, it seems to me that this creature or entity may not be a living organism at all, but some manner of spiritual substance. Does not smell alive. Lumicole. Nature is a high-risk, high-reward type of environment. The lumicole braves the danger, risking self-destruction to emit a light that lures creatures so it can propagate more Pikmin using glow pellets. But is that all? Could glow sap also be luring us? Besides the fact that they serve as incubators and nests for glow Pikmin, we know very little about the lumicole's ecology. When nocturnal creatures die, a lumicole can break them down into glow pellets, through its strong dissolving enzymes. I don't care if it's called glow pellets, I'm still calling them star bits. This matter, when condensed, becomes glow sap. One might assume one glow sap is then extremely dangerous. One might assume glow sap is then an extremely dangerous substance, but it has hardly any negative effects. In fact, I've had it administered to me personally as a curative medicine to break down growing leaves. Lumicoles will only appear in places where onions were located earlier in the day, and since they propagate glow Pikmin, one could surmise that their rhizomes from these onions, perhaps using its dissolving powers, it returns the nectar that supports the ecosystem back to the soil. Smells a lot like an onion. The green juice is particularly delicious. And there you have it. Well, that's all the new entries for the new enemies and plants, and old enemies getting new entries for this game. All done. Honestly, that is a stacked cast right there. And I'm so glad the Pikmin actually got their own unique Piklopedia notes. Well, that is it. I don't have to talk to you ever again. See you later, Dharma, with your weird obsession with these things. But our time here for Pikmin 4 does not come to an end. We got one more thing to do here. We're going to go through the entire treasure hoard. So next time on Pikmin 4, we're going to be doing just that. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you all will have a good one.